make sure that you have a pen or a marker to correct and make changes to your daily language as we go. Does you have a dog or a cat? So it sounds so strange when they're so mixed up. So we wouldn't say does here, we'd say do, with a capital D. Do you have a dog or a cat? Now this is a question, so we're going to need a question mark. Me and William like to help Mr. Smith wash the chalkboards. We talked last week. Me is never used at the beginning of a sentence or before the verb. So that we know is wrong. And we always put the other person first. So William should be William, the capital W, should be William and I. Okay, I comes before, we use it in the subject of the sentence before the verb. William and I like to help Mr. Smith. Mr. is an abbreviation, capital MR period. Smith is his name, capital S. Mr. Smith washed the chalkboards, period. It's a declarative sentence. Give two words that rhyme with the following word. Ring. You could have bring, you could have sing, you could have thing, ding. Anything that ends in an ing pretty much is going to rhyme. Which word is spelled correctly? We're looking for near. Okay, this is the near that is correct. And seat. This is the correct for please take a seat. Tuesday. These are analogies. Hopefully you remember from last week how we read those. So it's elephant is to enormous. So how are those two related? How are elephant and enormous related? This is an animal and it's telling me its size. Okay, so I have to figure that out first before I go to the next one. Elephant is to enormous as mouse is to what? So we have the animal here. Now we need the size. So we would put small. Or you could even, they used a really great detailed wow word, enormous. You could even put minute. It looks just like the word minute. Okay. No corners is to round. So it's the properties of the shape. There's no corners. So if something has no corners, it's round. No corners is to round, as four corners is to what's something with four corners. It could be a square or a rectangle. Use context clues to determine the meanings. We need to figure out the meaning of this word pedestrian. The cars waited for the pedestrian to walk across the street. So a pedestrian is a person who is walking. Okay. Have you read a book called The Day Jimmy's Boa Ate the Wash? Okay, well, and of course you know there's capital H. Have you read the book? Now this tells us it's the title of a book. You know, an alarm should go off in your head. Bing, 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 bing. Title, that means the important words are going to be capitalized. The first word's going to be capitalized and it's going to be underlined. So the title is The Day Jimmy's Boa Ate. Now this the is not really that important of a word, so we're not going to capitalize it. The wash. And we have to underline it because it is the title of a book. And they're asking us a question, so we need a question mark. Now, if you find that you've gotten quite a few mistakes, you can press pause on this, fix them, and then start it back up again. Okay, I and Chris will not be in the same class this year. Well, the good thing is they have I instead of me, because we know we use I at the beginning of a sentence. Problem is they have it in the wrong spot. Chris needs to be first. We want to put the other person first. So it should be Chris and I will not be in the same class this year, and that's a fact, period. Okay, Wednesday. He used context clues to determine the meaning of the word novice. He had never ridden a horse before and was a novice. So if you've never done something before, says he's never ridden a horse, you're a novice. So a novice is somebody who has a new skill or somebody who's never done anything before, done that particular thing before. Are you going to Charlotte, North Carolina this June? Well, capital for R. It's a question, so we're going to put the question mark so we don't forget. Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte is the name of a city. North Carolina is the name of a state. And we always put commas in between cities and states. And then June is the month, so it needs to be capitalized. Hopefully you caught all of those, especially the comma between the city and the state. We are reading a book called Skinny Bones by Barbara Park. So capital W for beginning of a sentence. Again, this tells us a book. Bing, 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 bing. The alarm should go off. You're looking for a capital letter and underlining. Okay, the book title, this is an easy one. It's just one word, Skinny Bones. We're going to capitalize it, underline it. But Barbara Park is somebody's name. So hopefully you capitalize that. And that is just a declarative telling statement, so we put a period. Which word is spelled correctly? It's going to be interesting. Interesting right here. Suppose right here. All right, look at those. Make sure you got them. Last one. Okay, we have some more analogies. I love these, especially in 3rd grade. Get your brain thinking. So 18 is to even. Ooh, so the relationship here is a number and whether it's odd or even. So that's cool. As 33 is to, so if this was a number and this 18 we said it was even, now this is a number. Is this even or odd? Hopefully you put odd, because anything that ends in a 1, 3, 5, 7, or 9 is odd, and 33 ends in a 3, so it's odd. Chicago Bulls is to basketball, so this is the name of a professional team to the sport, as, oh, we get to do our own. As to Nuggets, oops, not wordy, is to, we could do basketball, or I guess we could do another sport. How about the Rockies? As Rockies is to baseball. Okay, you could do any sport you want. You could do Broncos is to football, as long as it's the name of a professional sport and then the sport it is. Fact or fantasy. The fairy flew through the window. The fact that this could not happen and it's kind of magical makes it fantasy. Fantasy is something that doesn't really happen. Oops, my pen is not working well right now. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Hill got a new baby named Taylor. Okay, Mr. capital M-R period. I know you know that. Mrs. capital M-R-S period. Hill has to be capitalized. That's their name. Okay, got a new baby named Taylor. I just really dislike the word got, but I suppose we can leave it there. But in your regular writing, when you write to me, please don't use the word got. I really dislike it. Mr. and Mrs. Hill got a new baby named Taylor. Period. We singed 2 songs in music class. Capital for we. We don't say singed. This is another irregular verb like we learned about last year, where we don't use an ed to show past. We change the word. We sang. And is this the correct 2 songs? 2. This is not the correct spelling of the number 2, because I'm assuming that's what they meant. We sang 2 songs of music. So TWO is the number 2 in music class, period. All right, I hope you had a wonderful 2nd week, and just make sure you've made all your changes and give yourself a great big smiley face on your paper. Thank you.